All right, so are you ready to dive into some relationship advice?
Always.
Okay, well, you guys sent in this YouTube video,
Oh, yeah.
and it's called Vous remarquez ces choses chez un homme, épousez-le votre frère, #1, from the channel, Pas votre frère.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically all about how to spot a husband, like a good husband, but through this, very African lens.
Right, and I think that's what makes it so interesting, right? We get to see not just the tips themselves,
Yeah.
but how different cultures think about marriage, relationships, all of that.
Exactly.
It's a whole different way of looking at things. It's really cool.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the speaker in this video gives 9 signs.
9 signs.
9 signs to watch for, and the first one, I love it. It's all about communication.
Communication.
Like, he's very big on, like, a man who responds to messages, like, right away, very promptly, and who's, like, upfront about where he is and what he's doing.
Okay.
He even gives this example of a guy texting back, like, I'm working with investors.
Oh, I see. So you know exactly.
What he's doing.
No guessing games.
No guessing games.
Straight to the point.
Right.
Which I think, so many of us
Oh, absolutely.
struggle with these days,
Yeah. I mean, it goes beyond just being polite or, having good manners.
Yeah.
It's about wanting to be open and reassuring in the relationship, to know that your partner is going to be there.
Right. Like, you're not an afterthought.
Exactly.
You're a priority.
Yeah, think about how different it would be if you're dating someone who keeps you in the dark, versus someone who makes you feel like a priority just by communicating.
Right. It's like they want you to know
They want you to know.
what's going on.
Yeah.
So it makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you think about your own experiences and
Yeah.
how you communicate.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the next sign?
Okay, so the next one is about how this potential husband, handles disagreements.
Okay.
He's all about, like, respectful listening, even when he doesn't agree with your point of view.
Okay.
So he gives this example, I'm just going to paraphrase here, of a woman who is upset because her husband came home late.
Okay.
And, maybe he thinks her reaction is, like, a little much, but the point is he should still listen patiently and respond calmly.
Because it's about keeping your cool.
Yes, and he's, like, really against, these big blow-up arguments.
Right.
He even says that, like, a lot of people haven't experienced true love because they haven't had, like, those big makeup moments after a fight.
Wow, that's an interesting take.
I know, I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that.
It is an interesting perspective.
Yeah,
It really highlights how different cultures approach conflict.
right.
Because some people think those passionate arguments mean you have like a really,
Fire relationship.
a fiery relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But our speaker here,
Yeah.
he prioritizes harmony,
Yes.
emotional stability.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to think about, how do we typically...
Yeah. How do you typically approach conflict in your relationship?
All right, is it that fiery,
Mm,
passionate, or more like peaceful resolution?
right. Yeah.
Okay, so sign number 3, this is a big one.
Okay. Hit me.
Never go to bed angry. Our speaker is, like, adamant about resolving conflicts before the end of the day.
Great.
He even links it back to, like, the depth of love, which I think is
Intense.
Intense, yeah.
It's intense, but it's
Yeah.
interesting because while I see the benefit in resolving things quickly,
Right.
sometimes you just need to step away,
Totally.
and like cool down
Totally.
before you can really have a productive conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I agree with forcing a resolution right away.
Right. It's like sometimes you need a timeout
Exactly.
before you can even talk
Yeah.
about it.
Exactly.
Okay, so next up is, feeling protected and secure,
Mm-hmm.
both physically and emotionally, right? And he gives this very vivid image of, a man holding a woman's hand in public, showing everyone, this is my woman.
I see. It's like a display.
Yes, a public display
Yeah.
to show that he's got her back.
That he's got her back.
And it's not just about, literally protecting her.
Right. It's more than that.
It's about making her feel safe,
Yeah. It's emotional too.
emotionally secure,
Mm.
like she can count on him.
Yeah. It's that sense of safety and confidence that
Right.
you want in a partner.
Right, and that he's proud to be with her,
Exactly. He's not hiding her away.
not hiding the relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this next sign is all about accepting imperfections.
Oh.
He really emphasizes, like, finding a partner who loves you for who you are, flaws and all,
Flaws and all.
which is like that classic idea of unconditional love.
Right, unconditional love. But honestly,
It's easier said than done.
it's so much easier said than done.
It really is,
Right.
because we all have imperfections.
We all do. But to truly embrace those in a relationship,
It's a whole other level.
it's a whole other level.
Right.
It's recognizing that those quirks are what make your partner special.
Yeah.
What do you appreciate about your partner? Even if it's not always perfect.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah, so this is where things get a little complicated. The video talks about possessiveness,
Possessiveness.
but in a positive light.
Oh, okay.
It's about a man being invested in his partner's life,
Okay.
setting boundaries.
Boundary.
Like if she comes home late, he wants to know why.
Okay.
He even makes a distinction between like why it's okay for a man to be out late versus a woman.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's a little,
It's interesting.
it's interesting. So I think here it's really important to be careful, right?
Right.
Make sure that it's healthy concern
Healthy concern.
and not controlling behavior.
Right, exactly. It's a fine line.
But it's a very fine line.
But a little bit of possessiveness, it can come from love and care,
Right.
but it can also be a sign.
A red flag.
A red flag, yeah.
Yeah, so finding that balance
Finding that balance.
is key.
And knowing your own boundaries, right?
Yes, for sure.
What are you comfortable with?
Yes, totally, totally.
Okay, back to maybe some less controversial.
Yes, back to less controversial.
Okay.
So the video then stresses that a man should own up to his mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
He apologizes sincerely and he doesn't repeat the offense.
Oh, so accountability is key here.
Accountability is huge,
Yeah.
right? It's like he messed up.
He messed up.
He says he's sorry
He owns it,
and he doesn't do it again.
and it shows that he respects you,
Yes.
that he respects the relationship
And the relationship.
enough to make it right.
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
Okay, so this one really resonated with me.
Okay.
A man's availability.
Availability, yes.
And he's not just talking about, those late night booty calls.
Right.
He's talking about
Consistent effort.
consistent effort. He specifically mentions the example of a guy inviting you out after he's already in town.
Oof. Like you weren't the plan.
You are not the plan,
Yeah.
which we've all been there.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
That feeling of like,
Second choice.
ooh, like the backup,
It stings.
it stings. Because it's about feeling valued.
Valued and prioritized.
Yes, you're not,
The afterthought.
it's not about grand gestures. It's about those consistent
Little things.
little things,
Yes.
that show you're important.
Right. Like, do they make time for you?
Yeah.
Do they plan things in advance?
Do they seem excited to be with you?
Yes, that's the energy.
That's the energy.
We want, right.
Yes.
Okay, last one for this batch. Honest feedback.
Okay, honesty.
He thinks a good partner won't just tell you what you want to hear, right?
Right.
They'll give you constructive criticism
When you need it.
when you need it,
Yeah.
which we all need sometimes.
We all need it.
We all need it
So it's about challenging each other to grow
to grow, to be better.
as individuals and as a couple.
Right.
And let's be real, sometimes we need that little nudge
We do.
to get outside of our comfort zone or
Yeah, see our blind spots.
our blind spots, but it's got to be done respectfully,
With
right?
respect and care, yeah.
Okay, so he goes on this whole tangent about how sexual experience doesn't equal true love
Oh, interesting.
and how giving someone the silent treatment is basically manipulative.
Oh, wow.
So clearly this guy
He's passionate
passionate healthy communication.
about communication.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can't even communicate openly and honestly,
Yeah.
are you even capable of true love?
That's a deep question.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is.
Okay, we've got to take a break, but we'll be back to unpack more of this video.
Yes. Can't wait.
So much to discuss. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about those first 9 signs, right? Yeah. It was a lot to unpack, even just those first 9.
It was, and I think what's so interesting is how he's blending like these traditional African values with like more universal relationship advice.
Yeah, it's a good mix.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing about a man's availability.
Oh yeah, availability.
Not just, texting you late at night.
Right, when he's bored.
Yeah, when he's got nothing better to do.
It's about being a priority,
Yes.
not an option.
And not feeling like the second choice.
It's not just about those big moments, it's about the small, consistent things,
Yeah, those little things.
The little things that say, hey, you matter to me.
Totally.
Totally. Okay, so where do we leave off?
Oh, yeah. So he goes on to talk about how a potential husband should encourage you to be your best self.
Oh, I like that.
Right, like pushing you to grow and achieve your goals.
It's about being partners in growth,
Yeah,
Like a good relationship should make you both better.
better people.
Yeah, help you reach your potential.
It's like having a cheerleader,
A cheerleader, yeah.
but one who also gives you a little, tough love
A little nudge sometimes.
when you need it.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, so then he talks about shared values,
Oh, shared values. That's important.
especially like faith and spirituality. He really believes that, couples who are on the same page spiritually are more likely to get through those, like
Tough times.
the tough times.
Yeah, whether the storms together.
Because in the storms together, yeah.
Because you have that shared foundation.
It makes you think, right?
It does. It makes you think.
About how important that is to you.
Yeah, how important is it for you to have that shared worldview?
Right, it doesn't have to be the exact same religion,
No, not necessarily.
but like a similar approach to life.
Yeah, those core values, right?
Yes, the core values.
That shape how you see the world.
Totally.
Okay, what else does he talk about?
All right, so getting into more, I guess, practical matters,
Okay.
he brings up financial responsibility.
Yes, finances.
And he's, pretty traditional here.
Okay.
He advises women to look for a man who's financially stable,
Okay.
can provide for a family,
Provide for a family, yeah.
which, definitely reflects his background and, those traditional views.
Right, it's a cultural thing.
But it is interesting to think about how, roles are evolving these days.
They are evolving.
Right.
And, communication is key, right?
Yes, communication about finances.
A shared approach to money.
Yes.
That's important.
And he even suggests, like, paying attention to how a man spends his money,
Oh, interesting.
how he manages his finances.
So it's not just about how much he makes.
It's not just about the number.
It's about his attitude
It's about the attitude,
towards money.
which makes sense, right?
It does. Because financial compatibility
Yes.
can make or break a relationship.
It's a huge source of conflict.
It really is.
So, yeah, it's good to think about that early on.
Early on, yeah.
Okay, so this one's a little interesting.
All right, I'm intrigued.
He says to check out a man's family background.
His family.
Yeah, he believes that a man's family, like the dynamics,
Ooh, the dynamic.
can tell you something about his character.
That's tricky.
Right,
Oh.
like how he might behave in a relationship.
I mean, family can shape us, but it doesn't define us, right?
Right.
So it's more about observing.
Observing.
Yeah, like how does he interact with them? How does he communicate?
Right.
How does he handle conflicts?
It's like a sneak peek
Sneak peek.
into his relationship style.
But people can change,
They can change and grow
So it's important to see him as an individual.
as his own person.
Yeah, not just a
Yeah.
product of his family.
For sure, for sure.
Okay, so what's next?
All right, another one that kind of goes along with that,
Okay,
his social circle.
his friends.
He says to pay attention to the company he keeps.
Yeah, the company you keep.
Because friends can influence you.
Oh, absolutely. They influence your behavior,
Choices.
your choices.
So if his friends are like respectful, supportive,
Good people.
good people,
Yeah.
and that's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
But if they're, engaging in behaviors that you're not okay with,
Yeah, if his friends are a mess,
it might be a red flag.
it could be a red flag, yeah.
Right.
Be mindful of who he surrounds himself with.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
He talks about physical attraction and chemistry.
The spark.
He acknowledges that, looks aren't everything.
Right, it's not everything.
But he does believe there needs to be that,
That initial attraction.
that spark, that initial attraction.
It's important to feel that connection,
Yes.
that excitement, that comfort.
And it's not just about how he looks.
Mhm.
It's about how he makes you feel.
Right, exactly.
Like, do you feel confident,
desire.
desired, beautiful,
Yeah, how does he make you feel about yourself?
Totally.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, so he also emphasizes emotional intelligence,
Oh, we touched on that before.
which we did touch on before, but
Yeah.
it's a big one, right?
It's a big one, yeah.
He believes that a good husband should be able to understand and express his emotions
In a healthy way.
in a healthy way.
Yes.
Someone who can empathize
Empathize.
and communicate effectively.
Right, you don't want to be with someone who shuts down
Ugh, no.
or explodes.
Yeah, you.
You need someone who can regulate their emotions
Yes.
and respond to yours
With empathy.
with empathy and understanding.
Yes.
Think about how good it feels.
To be with someone who actually listens
Who listens.
and validates your feelings.
Yeah, even when they're tough.
Yes, even when they're difficult.
It makes all the difference.
Okay, now this one I think a lot of people can relate to.
Okay.
Shared interests and hobbies.
Oh, shared interests, yeah.
He really believes that couples who have things in common are more likely to enjoy spending time together.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
It does.
Shared interests can bring you closer.
You have things to do together.
Things to do together, things to talk about.
You can bond over it.
But it's also okay to have your own things.
Your own things, yeah.
What's important is that you're supportive
Supportive.
and curious about each other's passions.
Yes, and sometimes it's fun to, like, introduce each other.
Yeah, introduce each other to new things.
To new things.
Keep it interesting.
Keep it interesting. Yeah.
Okay, what else? What else?
Okay, this one might surprise you.
All right, let's hear it.
Sense of humor.
Oh, sense of humor. I like that.
He thinks a good husband should be able to make you laugh.
Make you laugh.
Yeah.
Especially when things are tough.
Especially when things are tough.
Yeah, laughter is so important.
It's the best medicine, they say.
It really is. It can lighten the mood.
It connects you.
Connect you.
Relieve stress.
Relieve stress, yeah.
And then he circles back to communication.
Back to communication, okay.
He just can't stress it enough.
He's really hammering that home.
Hammering it home. That a good husband is someone you can talk to about anything.
About anything.
You know, who listens attentively and offers support.
It's about feeling safe.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
To share anything.
To be vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
Without judgment.
Yeah, to know that you'll be heard.
It builds so much trust.
Trust and intimacy.
Over time.
Over time, yeah.
Okay, and then, you know, kind of going along with that.
Okay.
Trust and loyalty.
Ah, the foundation.
He believes these are just fundamental
Mental, yeah.
for a lasting marriage.
Right. If you don't have trust.
And he cautions against, you know, rushing into things.
Take your time.
Take your time.
Get to know someone.
Get to know them, see how they behave,
See how they treat you.
see how they treat others.
How they handle challenges.
Do their actions match their words?
Exactly. Actions speak louder than words.
That's so true.
It's true.
All right. What else? What else?
I'm ready. Keep going.
Okay, so shared goals and aspirations.
Okay, shared goals.
He believes that couples who are, you know, working towards a common vision are more likely to stay united. Motivated, yeah.
It's about being on the same team.
On the same team, working together.
For something bigger.
Bigger than yourselves.
Than yourselves, yeah.
I like that.
And then he kind of wraps things up
Okay.
by saying that marriage is a sacred commitment.
It is.
You know, it's a lifelong journey.
It's a journey.
That requires effort, compromise, unwavering love.
It's not always easy.
It's not always easy, but it's about choosing each other.
Choosing each other.
Even when things get tough.
Yeah, through thick and thin.
Through thick and thin.
Wow, he covered a lot.
You did.
From communication to finances.
Family,
values, even humor.
sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see how he blends tradition with, you know, those more modern relationship ideas.
It is. It's a really nuanced perspective.
It's a good reminder that there's no, you know, one-size-fits-all formula.
One size fits all, no. For finding the perfect partner,
Right.
it's about figuring out what matters most to you
To you.
and finding someone who aligns with that vision.
With your vision, yeah.
And he really stresses, you know, patience and perseverance.
Patience.
Finding the right person takes time.
It does take time.
So trust your instincts and don't settle
Don't settle.
for less than you deserve.
That's so important.
He also encourages, you know, seeking guidance from trusted sources.
Oh, that's good advice.
Like family, friends, spiritual advisors.
Yeah, people who have your best interests at heart.
When you're making those big decisions about love.
Because sometimes an outside perspective can be really helpful.
So helpful.
To see things clearly.
And then he concludes by, you know, emphasizing the importance of prayer and faith.
Right. That's a big part of his worldview.
Yeah, believing that divine guidance can lead to the right partner.
It's about trusting in something bigger than yourself.
So overall, I think he's really passionate about helping women find lasting love.
He is.
And make informed decisions.
Informed decisions.
About their relationships.
Yeah, he wants people to be happy.
Yes, he does.
And it's remarkable how he combines, you know, tradition with modern ideas about relationships.
So remember, it's just one perspective.
One perspective.
Right.
It's up to you, the listener,
Yeah.
to decide what resonates.
What resonates with you.
What you agree with, what you want to challenge.
Yeah, based on your own experiences.
Their own values.
Your values, exactly.
That's the beauty of it. You can take what you need.
And leave the rest.
And leave the rest. Yeah.
He also talks about personal growth and self-improvement.
Oh, that's important.
Like being the best version of yourself.
The best version of yourself.
And for like the right partner.
Right, because when you invest in yourself, you attract people who value that.
And it starts with self-love, right?
Self-love, absolutely.
You've got to love yourself.
You have to love yourself.
Before you can love someone else.
Before you can be loved.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive into this video.
Wow. That was a lot.
It was a lot.
But it was so interesting.
It was so interesting.
To hear his perspective.
He's got a lot of wisdom to share.
He does. He does. You know, it's clear he's passionate about this topic.
Absolutely.
And it's a good reminder that there's no magic formula.
No magic formula.
For finding the one.
Right. It's a journey.
It's about connection.
Connection.
Shared values,
Such a
trust, building that bond.
That can last.
And he really encourages, you know, being patient, persistent.
It takes time.
It does take time.
Don't give up on love.
Don't give up.
He also emphasizes, forgiveness and reconciliation.
Forgiveness, yeah.
Being able to forgive each other's mistakes.
Because we all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes.
And being able to move forward.
Yeah, it's about growing together.
Growing together.
So what does all this advice mean for you, the listener?
That's the question, isn't it?
There's no easy answer.
No easy answers when it comes to love.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you something to think about.
Something to ponder.
Something to ponder as you navigate the world of relationships.
It's about taking what resonates with you.
Yes.
And leaving behind what doesn't.
And trusting your gut.
Your intuition.
Your intuition.
Yeah.
And he even talks about the importance of, forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Reconciliation, being able to move on from those mistakes.
Because everyone makes mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes.
About how you handle them.
And grow from them.
Grow from them.
So we've officially reached the end of our deep dive.
Wow. Time flies.
It does.
When you're talking about love.
It was fascinating to
Yeah.
explore his perspective.
Yeah, with all the cultural nuances.
And, those thought-provoking pieces of advice.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that there's no one right way to find love.
No one right way.
It's about taking what resonates with you.
Taking what works for you.
And leaving behind what doesn't.
And ultimately trusting your own heart.
Your heart.
Your intuition.
And he really encourages, being patient.
Patient, yeah.
Persistent. It takes time to find the right person.
It does, but don't give up.
Don't give up on love.
Yeah, don't settle.
So what's the most important takeaway for our listener?
I think it's remembering that finding love is a journey.
A journey, yeah.
Embrace the process.
Trust your instincts.
Don't settle for less than you deserve.
And use this advice as a starting point.
A starting point, yeah.
For self-reflection.
Self-reflection.
And have those meaningful conversations.
With yourself, with your potential partner.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out what you want.
What you truly want.
In a relationship.
Okay, so we've talked about those 9 signs.
9 signs.
But I think what's really important is that feeling.
That feeling, right?
Of deep connection.
Deep connection.
Mutual respect,
Shared laughter.
Shared laughter.
Support.
That you experience when you're with the right person.
That's how you know.
That's how you know.
It's not about the checklist.
It's about that feeling.
That feeling.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration.
Of love.
And relationships.
We hope it's giving you some things to think about.
Things to think about, yeah.
Maybe even spark some conversation.
With your partner, with your friends.
And remember, whether you're single,
dating, relations,
whatever your situation.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Keep exploring.
And learning.
And keep loving.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep. So we've spent a lot of time, really unpacking this YouTuber's advice on, what makes a man husband material.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey.
It has been a journey.
I've covered so much.
So much, from communication to finances, family dynamics, you name it, we've talked about it.
It's all in there.
But if you had to pick one thing, one theme, that really stood out to you from this whole thing, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. For me, it's got to be the focus on emotional intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
And self-awareness.
He talks about that a lot.
He does, and he really stresses finding a partner who can handle their own emotions in a mature way.
Right, not losing their cool.
Not losing their cool, exactly.
And also who can understand and respond to your feelings, with empathy.
Yeah, with empathy and respect.
And he even, points out those red flags.
The red flags,
shutting down during arguments or, the dreaded silent treatment.
Of the silent treatment.
Or refusing to, admit when they're wrong.
It's like he's saying emotional maturity is non-negotiable.
Right, it's not even an option.
It's got to be there.
If you want a real, lasting relationship.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
Can you really have true love without that emotional intelligence?
I don't know. It's a good question.
It's a big question.
And he doesn't just, focus on the negative,
Right.
He also talks about the positive side of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, what does it look like in a healthy relationship?
Exactly. Being able to apologize sincerely, offer support, be that calming presence when things are tough,
It's about being there for each other.
And he even talks about kindness and compassion.
Oh,
Like,
man.
a good husband should be someone who treats everyone with respect.
Not just his partner.
Not just his partner.
Everyone.
Yeah, it's like that's part of his character.
It's about being a good person overall.
So it makes you think about, the people you want in your life.
Yeah, who do you want to surround yourself with?
And not just romantically.
Yeah, friends too.
Speaking of tricky topics, how did you feel about his take on possessiveness?
Oh, yeah, that was definitely one of the more challenging parts of the video.
It was.
Because he kind of presented it as a good thing, like a man being protective of his woman.
Right, like it's a sign that he cares.
Yeah. But, possessiveness can be tricky.
That's a fine line.
It's a very fine line.
Between healthy concern and, controlling behavior.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember that what might feel loving to one person
Yeah.
could feel suffocating to another.
Yeah.
It's all about individual boundaries.
He even made that distinction between, like, why it's okay for a man to be out late.
Right, versus a woman.
Versus a woman, which felt
A little outdated.
a little outdated, yeah.
So it's a good reminder that not all advice is created equal.
Yeah, you got to filter it through your own values and experiences.
Exactly. Figure out what works for you.
So we've explored these 9 signs, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
there's no magic formula
There's no checklist.
for finding the one.
No.
It's more about taking this advice,
Mm-hmm.
reflecting on it,
Reflect.
and figuring out what really matters to you.
What matters
A
most.
partner.
And in a relationship.
And even within those things that you agree with, there's still room for. Like,
Personal interpretation.
personal interpretation. Like, he
Okay.
talked about, the importance of intimacy.
Oh, yeah. Intimacy.
Physical and emotional.
Yeah.
He believes that a strong sexual connection is important for a good marriage.
Mm-hmm. But intimacy means different things to different people.
Right. Exactly.
It's not just about the physical.
No.
It's about vulnerability
Communication.
and deep emotional connection.
It's about feeling safe with your partner.
Seen.
Understood.
And he even says, don't confuse sexual experience with true love.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Because real intimacy goes beyond just the physical.
It's about that deep connection, knowing each other on a soul level.
Feeling accepted.
Accepted for who you truly are.
Flaws and all.
So as we wrap up, what would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think it's the reminder that finding love, it's a journey.
It's a journey, yeah.
Embrace the ups and downs.
It's the good, the bad.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Trust your instinct.
Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Use this advice as a starting point,
A starting
for
point.
self-reflection.
Have those conversations with yourself.
And ultimately,
The most important sign isn't something you're going to find on a list.
it's not a checklist.
It's that feeling.
Yeah, feeling it.
When you're with the right person.
Deep down,
Deep down,
it's that connection, the respect,
the laughter.
the support.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of relationships.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun.
It has to.
And remember, no matter where you are in your love life,
Single, dating, married,
it's all a journey.
it's a journey.
So keep exploring
Keep learning.
and keep loving.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.